Hey there, boys and girls. It is Monday, March 30th, and I'm so excited to be reading aloud with you. Sadly, we can't continue Stone Fox. Third grade was worried that you would know the ending and it would spoil it for when you read that in third grade. So that's okay. We'll save that. You'll get to find out the ending next year, and when you do, you come talk to me about it because it's one of my favorite books. So I decided to pick another read aloud for us to do. And I decided we would do Freckle Juice by Judy Blume. Now, if you remember, earlier in the year, we read The One in the Middle is the Green Kangaroo. And that was also written by Judy Blume. So this is our second novel by the same author. So I think it's kind of neat when you find an author that you like to read several of their books. All right, let's start off by reading the blurb on the back of the book and find out a little bit about what Freckle Juice is going to be about. Nicky has freckles. They cover his face, his ears, and the whole back of his neck. If Andrew had freckles like Nicky, his mother would never know if his neck was dirty. But how exactly do you get freckles? For 50 cents, Know-It-All Sharon has the answer. A secret family freckle recipe. 50 cents is a lot of money, but Andrew is desperate. It's not until after he goes home and carefully mixes the strange combination of ingredients that he realizes he might be getting more than he paid for. So we're going to get started in our book today. Now, as we're reading, I want you to keep a couple things in mind. I want you to think about what the genre of our book is. Are we reading fiction, something that's not real, or nonfiction, something that is real? Now, if we say that it's fiction, are we reading realistic fiction, something that could really happen? Are we reading fantasy, science fiction, something that has things like magic and things that couldn't happen in real life, maybe talking animals? Or are we reading historical fiction, something that really happened in the past, but they made it into a fictitious story for us? All right, so we're going to keep those things in mind. And I also want you to think about if you have freckles. I don't have freckles. I might have a few from the sun, but I don't have freckles. Do you have freckles? I love freckles. I think they're so cute when you have freckles. Well, we're going to find out why our character wants freckles so bad. Do you think there really could be a recipe that would give you freckles? Let's read and find out. Freckle Juice. We're getting there. Chapter 1. Andrew Marcus wanted freckles. Nicky Lane had freckles. He had about 1 million of them. They covered his face, his ears, and the back of his neck. Andrew didn't have any freckles. He had 2 warts on his finger, but they didn't do him any good. If he had freckles, like Nicky, his mother would never know that his neck was dirty. She wouldn't have to wash, so he wouldn't have to wash, and then he'd never be late for school. Andrew had plenty of time to look at Nicky's freckles. He sat right behind him in class. Once he even tried to count them, but when he got to 86, Miss Kelly called, "Andrew, are you paying attention?" "Yes, Miss Kelly," Andrew said. Now, did you catch why Andrew wants the freckles? Think about it. You're going to share your answer at the end of the chapter. Well, good, Andrew. I'm glad to hear that. Now, will you please pick up your chair and join your reading group? We're all waiting for you. Andrew stood up in a hurry. His reading group giggled, especially Sharon. He could not stand that Sharon. She thought she knew everything. He picked up his chair and carried it to the corner where his reading group sat. "You may begin, Andrew," Miss Kelly said. "Page 64. Andrew turned the pages of his book. 64, 64. He couldn't find it. The pages stuck together. Oh, why did Miss Kelly have to pick on him? Now, before we go on, I want you to stop and I want you to think about, how does Andrew feel about Sharon? Are they friends or not friends? How do we know? Some words in the text let us know that. Everyone else already had their books open to the right page. Sharon kept giggling. She covered her mouth to keep the noise, but Andrew knew what was going on. He finally found page 64, right where it was supposed to be, between page 63 and 65. If he had had his own freckles, he wouldn't have to count Nicky Lane's. Then he'd hear Miss Kelly when she called reading groups, and nobody would laugh at him. Later, when the bell rang, Andrew poked Nicky Lane. "What do you want?" Nicky asked, turning around. There's the boys and girls sitting in their reading group. See that? And there he is carrying his chair over. This book has drawings like Stone Fox did. "Well, I was wondering about your freckles," Andrew said. "Oh, yeah? What about them?" Andrew felt pretty stupid. "Well, how'd you get them?" "What do you mean, how?" "You get born with them. That's how." Andrew thought that's what Nicky would say. Some help he was. "Line up, boys and girls," Miss Kelly said. "Time to go home now. Sharon, you may lead the girls. Andrew, you may lead the boys." Some luck. Just when he got to be the leader, he had to stand next to Sharon. When they were in line, Sharon whispered to Andrew, "Psst, I know how to get them." "How to get what?" Andrew asked. "Freckles," Sharon said. "Who asked you?" "Well, I heard you ask Nicky about them." Sharon ran her tongue along her teeth. She was always doing that. "Do you want to know how to get them?" Sharon asked. "Maybe," Andrew told her. "Well, it'll cost you 50 cents. I have a secret recipe for Freckle Juice," Sharon whispered. Here's the picture. See, she's telling him all about the recipe. A secret recipe? Uh-huh. Sharon's tongue reminded Andrew of a frog catching flies. He wondered if Sharon ever got a mouthful of bugs when she opened her mouth and wiggled her tongue around. Andrew inspected Sharon's face. "You don't even have freckles," he said. "Look close," Sharon said. "I've got 6 on my nose." Big deal. A lot of good 6'll do." "You can get as many as you want. 6 was enough for me. It all depends on how much freckle juice you drink." Andrew did not believe Sharon for a minute. Not 1 minute. There was no such thing as freckle juice. Andrew had never heard of it before. That's the end of chapter 1. Now, I wonder what's going to be in the freckle juice recipe. Let's think about it. Let's imagine what could be in freckle juice recipe. What would make you have freckles? I'm going to have a Google form that you're going to have that question on. So before you go on to chapter 2, I want you to imagine what might be in freckle juice, what the ingredients might be. And also, why was it Andrew was counting Nicky's freckles? Why did he want those freckles so bad? Now think about how Andrew and Sharon feel about each other. If you were Sharon, would you share your freckle juice recipe with Andrew? Would you share a recipe with someone that maybe you didn't like? If she doesn't, I wonder why she's going to share her recipe. Something to think about. All right, check out your questions, fill them out, return them to me, and tomorrow, tune in for chapter 2. I love you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.